Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real, where we have real conversations with extraordinary people in beautiful multi-million-dollar homes. I'm Erica Rawls, and I am excited about today's episode because I can sit down with a great leader in our area who is only at the mere age of 29, and he is doing his darn thing. He is the head coach at the CD East football team, and he is doing great things this year. They're already, 4-0?
We're 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0, and we're going to have a great conversation. You ready? Set? Let's get into it. Yeah, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. So I need for you to share your background because I think you're doing phenomenal. I know you're coaching with my son, or my son's coached one of your coaching staff.
Absolutely.
And when I saw what you were doing, and then I asked about your age, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
We definitely have to have him.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. So obviously, like you mentioned, I'm the head coach at Central Dauphin East. I'm also a dean of students there as well.
Oh, that's fun.
Grew up in the Harrisburg city area. Played locally at McDevitt. I went on to play college football at Kutztown University, where I got my leisure sports degree. And after that, came back, had the opportunity to go back and coach at McDevitt. At the same time, I went back to school and got my teacher certification. Spent some time at McDevitt for a few years. Then I went to Stilton, was a defense coordinator there for a year. We won the state championship. Then I applied for the head coaching job at Central Dauphin East, where your husband gave me a chance to, become at that time the youngest coach in all of Pennsylvania. I was 25 when I officially got hired. So
Right.
definitely a neat experience and a good opportunity, to say the least.
That's awesome. What gave you, I don't know any other word, but audacity to want to apply for a head coaching position at that time? What were you, 27, 28?
When I applied?
When you applied?
24.
You were 24 when you applied?
Yeah, 24, 25.
You were 25?
25, yeah.
Seriously. Lynn, what were you thinking?
I'm big on, like, why not me? I just felt as if I put the work in. I felt as if I genuinely cared enough. And I was big on that. I had multiple conversations with my mom and dad, both for my life, and they kind of gave me that courage and, some, friends, heirs, and a few others that kind of, supported me in that sense. So, I always thought, why not me? The worst that can happen is, I've been told no, but I would regret it if I didn't prepare myself to actually have this opportunity. So it's one of those things where, I walked in there confident, and I was just looking for opportunity, and I was thankful to get one.
Yeah, that's amazing. And when you went into the role, if I remember correctly, right, they weren't doing the best. Right? So I'm just blown away because you were able to go in there and have such a great impact in such a short period of time, because it's been less than 5 years.
Right. So the year prior to me and our staff getting there, we went 0-10. Our first year as a staff, we went 7-3. We were top 10 in the state in 6A football at a point in time. We had 13 kids go to play college football that year. Everything was clicking at the right time as far as just the kids buy-in. I had a great staff. Kids were anxious to learn and wanted to be great. So, it was definitely a good initial starting year as far as his kids buying in and a great group of leaders that were setting the tone for these kids on and off the field.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I get coming in and they were hungry.
Yeah.
And yet there had to be some doubt.
For sure.
Right.
It is.
Right? So how did you motivate them to respond so quickly? 0-10, you said?
Right.
And 7-3?
Right.
Yeah, okay, Lance.
So
what's the secret sauce?
just the mentality, expecting to win. I think that's just a life philosophy and a life perspective. Expect to win in everything that you do, especially with kids. We're in this area, in this age where, social media, games, and things of those distractions are always around, where it's easy for you to go through the motions with your day-to-day life. So, just expecting to win, expecting to compete in every avenue of life. And we try so much to try to tie in that life aspect of, you may be a kid that goes on to compete for a job with a kid that went to Princeton, and you went to a small local state school or whatever the case may be. You go in that interview, you expect to win the interview. With that same token, we try to tie it in of why you need to be on time, why you need to do the little things. You'll be late. If you're late for work in 2-3 years, you're not sitting out a quarter of a football game.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have a job. So, I think we try to tie in those things and we were able to do that. And we're still doing it. Building a culture takes time. But, you get trust and you get the buy-in from the kids slowly but surely when you're doing things like that.
That's awesome. So with your age, there has to come with a lot of skepticism.
For sure.
And doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How do you work through that?
I ignore it. I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest expectations come from the ones I set myself. So I'm not trying to meet the standard or expectations of anybody because I quickly found out the moment, you exceed whatever magical expectations were set by them, here comes the next one. So you'll be chasing others' happiness and approval forever if that's what you're living for. And I know that's not what I'm after. I know who I am. I know what my purpose is. So I try to, block out the outside noise. Obviously, you hear. Try to smile at it and kind of keep it in the back of my mind. And more or less trying to prove myself right opposed to prove others wrong.
Mm-hmm. So when I hear you say that, I hear wisdom beyond your years. Yeah. So for you to say that you truly know what your purpose is,
sure,
right, and you're able to block out the noise successfully, right, that's just something to be applauded because I know there's a lot of people, in your age group, millennials, right, they're just trying to figure it out.
Right.
So I got to ask you, who do you attribute that to?
My parents. They always kept me grounded. They always kept me humble. But my parents also, both my mom and dad did a great job allowing me to be coached and teach by other adults because they were always imperative, rather it was my aunts, my uncles, or just their family friends, that it takes a village to raise a child. So I was just anxious enough to get to a point in my life where I was able to become a part of the village for a lot of other kids. So, just being able to be coachable and teachable takes you a long way in life. And I think I'm still at that point. I make it very clear to my students at school and to my players at the same time that I'm not perfect. I make the same mistakes a typical 29-year-old makes. I made the same silly mistakes a typical 16, 17-year-old makes. So nothing about my journey has been perfect. Mm-hmm. But even at this point, I try to stay accountable. I try to stay coachable, teachable, rather it's from, significant other, peers, fellow coaches, whatever that may be, just to the best of my ability, things that I can work on in that sense.
Yeah. So you not being so far away from their age, they have to admire you.
Yeah.
Right. So
some days it depends on
some days. Okay. So give me a typical day.
So normally starts with me waking up with my kids, depending on the day. Obviously I have two beautiful kids. I have a son and a daughter. So that calls for an early day. Then going into the school, spending the day as Deane of students, normally dealing with, this discipline and relationships, working with fellow teachers within the school. Then after school, we have a study hall period where, kids that don't have over 78 have mandatory study hall. So you have any grade lower than the 78, you're to be in study hall, depending on the day, obviously. And then we practice. So it's a busy day, committed to these students. Normally my kids will come up to practice depending on the day. So that's always neat and cool that as they're growing and they're getting older. Like, for example, my son, who's 4, the other day was like, Daddy, we don't have football practice today. He didn't understand it was Sunday. And he was like kind of in the mood a little bit. So just kind of seeing the kids grow, my kids grow, and myself grow all at once is a neat and, humbling experience for sure.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to circle back just a little bit to where when you first came on board, there was a point I wanted to make, just because I think it's really important, from you coming from, a culture where they were, I guess you could say expected to lose. Is that hard? But
that's fair.
But it's fair, right? To a culture where, a winning culture,
right?
The kids have doubt,
Sure.
Right? And most of the times, with that doubt is self-esteem issues.
For sure, yes.
So you said previously that you're dealing with some stuff now.
Right.
So what were some of the things or tools or messages that you gave them to want them to be, to work hard enough to start being or seeing themselves as winners?
For sure. Just more or less try to dig into the kids and build relationships with them. You can't teach a kid till you understand a kid. Mm-hmm. So, you got to kind of break down that door, that wall to see, some of the things they are dealing with, some of the things they want to accomplish. We have some situations and times where kids want to go play college football or they want to go into the military, but they're scared to actually admit that because, they don't know what that looks like. They don't know what it takes. They have second doubt. about accomplishing those things. So just kind of taking that time to, tear back a little bit and learn the student, learn the kid, and build the relationships. Once you understand the relationship, you can kind of, understand the approach. And, that's one thing that I'm still not struggling with, but, trying to find different creative ways is, different kids different kids need different approaches. The same thing with teaching, different teaching methods. So just trying to understand a student or player enough to be able to meet them where they're at to help them get to where they need to go.
And it helps. So your village, AKA your coaching staff, they help with that.
Absolutely.
So you had to find people that bought into your vision.
Absolutely.
And will be able to articulate it to the kids.
Absolutely.
Because you can't be over here and over there and everywhere, right?
Absolutely. I talk about it all the time. One thing that I learned, one of the earliest things that I learned becoming a head coach, especially at a young age, it is very hard to find good assistant coaches. One, especially when you're trying to do things the right way, because it's time consuming, don't get paid a lot. Somewhere there is volunteer. So you got to find people that, one, trust your vision, two, people that are loyal to you, and three, that genuinely care about the kids. And I think I've been blessed with enough and a lot of staff members throughout my 3 years there so far, going into four years technically, that believe in that same vision. And, my coaches have said, the players said, like, they are an extension of me. It's their team just as much as my team. I'm not a big ego guy, so it ain't about what I say. It's about what we say, and they have that same sense of, voice, sense of accountability. So just having those guys, like Ayers, Key, McGovern, Pollard, Sinks, Augie, Hicks, that's just to name a few. Sean Jones. I've had some guys that are no longer on staff the same way that were loyal to me, because everything's not a nice day.
Everything is not a nice day.
And I went through some times where, I've seen loyalty go away as well, where it's people you respected, that we're supposed to be buying into your vision. And that's easy to do when we talk about this as a team. If you ever want to judge a man, you judge him in a time of adversity. When things are going well, everybody's smiling ear to ear. It's easy to do those things.
Yeah.
You're challenged a little bit. You're coming off of 2 losses. Maybe it's cold out. Maybe you're dealing with personal things. What's your morals like them? What does your energy look like them? What does your sense of loyalty looks like that? So, I appreciate those that have been loyal to the vision of the program. So I'm very thankful for that, for sure.
Yeah, well, you weren't born this way, right? So, you were innately born with a lot of leadership abilities, but you just had to be under the right people.
For sure, absolutely.
So who would you say, as far as football world, you talked about your parents, who would you say had the most effect on the way that you approach coaching?
Actually, I would say my midget league coaches, man.
Really?
Yeah, I played for the Harrisburg Broncos.
Don't rate the midget league.
Yes, no. I played for the Harrisburg Broncos growing up, man.
Yeah.
Coach DJ, rest in peace to Coach Brody, Coach Smoke, Coach Al, Coach App, those guys, Coach TJ. The list can go on and on. It was just a way of like old school tough love from the beginning. Same thing with my uncle Bar as well, who had a lot of input to my football at a young age, and my Uncle Larry as well. But, it was a sense of tough love in old school. It was, and my dad allowed that. My dad didn't come in, we're in a world now where sometimes parents are trying to live through kids, especially because they're becoming younger and younger with publicity and everything. And even to this day, when my dad supports, I always know where my dad's at, because he's always in the corner, not by anybody else, just by himself. And that's how he was as a father when I was a player. Like, don't come to me complaining about a coach, or don't come to me complaining about playing time or favorites. And I think that has helped me so much. So just being able to just, allow me to jump off the porch essentially from a sports perspective, and get that tough coaching. There were some tough days where, I kind of had to find myself. So I think that character was built a lot just through my journey as a football player, starting with my midget year, my youth league with the Harrisburg Broncos.
Yeah. So finding yourself, what does that look like? Because, good days aren't every day.
For sure. It's a process. I think, as a father, is probably the most, when we talk about finding yourself, that I've ever been through, because there's no manual. And I had a great father. I have a great father. I have great parents. But there's no manual on how to be a father or be a parent. That's a trial by error type of thing, where you have to kind of go through it and figure it out as you go, especially having them at a younger age, essentially. So I think it's just a journey of consistency, just trying to stack it day by day. And with football, we live by that motto, win the day. Just trying to be where your feet is and just one day at a time. So I try to take that motto and, attach that to every avenue of my life.
Yeah, be where your feet is. I like that a lot, because I think a lot of times it's hard to concentrate where you are and just be able to take in your surroundings that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And life is short. So, we start looking ahead too much. We're not embracing, the good days and the bad days that are happening in front of us. That maybe creates tomorrow, but being where your feet allows you to embrace every part of that day.
Yeah. So unlike when I was growing up, you were saying that your parents allowed you to be coach.
Right.
I know my parents allowed my coach to chew me up if necessary, right?
Right.
We don't live in that day and age anymore.
No, we don't. I think a lot of that is because everything we as parents or just in society, everything we want is fast.
Yeah.
We want the fast gratitude of just, I want to win now, instead of, let me sit and compete a little bit. Let me have to earn this. Well, my son should be playing right now. He may. My son should have this job right now. He may, but if you stick with the process long enough, I think that builds much more character in the long run, opposed to this ducking and running and going to go find the easiest journey. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of that has to attest to wanting that immediate sense of success that I don't think does you much in the long run, opposed to, the character chasing of just being through a lot, through your trials and tribulations.
I think I love that about you, because they're not just football players to you, right? Absolutely. You're teaching them life lessons.
Absolutely. I tell them all the time, and we tell them all the time as coaches, if I look back from now, 4 years from now, and this was the peak of your life, I didn't do enough. And we didn't do enough as a coaching staff. Like, this needs to be a stepping stone to help you get to the next part of your life. We're not here to cherish this and let this be the peak of your life. We're here to create memories, hopefully win a lot of football games, build character, but this is just a stepping stone onto what's to come for you. Rather it's the military, rather it's trade school, rather it's college football, whatever that may or may not be. But hopefully you're able to come into our program and leave with a lot more than you came in with, just overall across the board, not just running routes or blocking or tackling, but just becoming a better version of yourself, knowing how to tie a tie, how to tug your shirt, knowing the difference between saying yes and yeah, no thank you, those type of things, that I grew up on, that I try to, and it was a process for me. Like I said, we embrace and work clear, not just me, the other coaches as well. It's like, we weren't perfect, man. I'm only 10 years, 12 years removed from you guys. So everything you guys have been through, I struggle with as well.
Yeah. How are you teaching them, these young men, that more than likely, I'll say 90% of them have aspirations going to the NFL?
Right.
I don't know what the statistics are. You probably know. Yeah. Right. So how are you preparing them going into college, even though their college coaches should be training them, stepping them up into, like, okay, if football don't work for you, there is life after football. It's just you need to be thinking about that as well.
Right.
Like, what is your part in it? You see it as a focus?
Absolutely. For us, because we always go back to more than football. So we always go back to, what do you want to accomplish in life? And we keep that on the front.
I want to play football.
No, that's not enough. What else? I want to go play college football. I want to go to the NFL. Okay. We're going to keep this on this side, and we're going to address that, because if that's what you want to do, we're not going to say, well, there's only a 10% chance of you doing it. Absolutely not. We're going to do, as a coaching staff, everything we can to help you accomplish that. And when I say everything, we're going to by the end of this, you're going to really realize if you actually want to do that or not.
You like the idea of playing in the NFL, or do you just, really want to play?
Yep. So we're going to offer that, and we're going to try to support that to the best of our ability. But on the other hand, what else? Because even if you were to make it to the NFL, the average NFL span is not that long. So being able to prepare for yourself, what is next regardless. So we dig deeper than the surface of, I want to go play NFL, or I want to go play college football. Okay, you may or may not be able to do that, but there's a lot of other things that go along with that. Or, hey, I want to major in business. Okay, that sounds good, but what do you want to do with that business degree? Those type of things. So when we're talking about that digging deeper, just trying to find a foundation of their purpose, which takes time. And I'm 29, and I'm just now finding out what I feel like my purpose is, and the difference between purpose and skill, or purpose and interest. So the earlier you're able to be introduced to that, I think, the better opportunity you have to be successful.
Mm-hmm. So you are so humble, because I do know that you train a couple NFL players as well. Yeah. So you could guide them, say, hey, this is the things you need to do as far as physically and mentally.
For sure.
Right. So what's that experience like?
Oh, it's been a blessing.
Yeah.
It's it's put me in rooms and allowed me to see things, that, I never kind of imagined as a, kid that grew up on North 16th Street in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania my whole life. But, it's something that's been very humbling. And a lot of it, frankly, I got to credit to a good friend of mine, Michael Parsons, who gave me the opportunity to train him. And from there, obviously, due to his success, which is because of the things he done and not myself, I've been able to, get other opportunities to train other guys and different publicity and things of that sort. So it's definitely been humbling, appreciative, and it's neat to see, especially with him being a Harrisburg guy. But it's something I definitely embrace, something I enjoy, and I don't take for granted.
I love that. Yeah, he gave you a hand up, and and now you're paying it forward.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
I love that. Yeah. So I have a question for you. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Because you're only 39 in 10 years.
Okay, yeah. What? Yeah, so
do you have aspirations to go in further, like college or NFL or?
I get that's the main. No. That's the question I get all the time. I don't know.
You're not sure?
Because I feel like titles may change, but my purpose will remain the same. So
explain.
I feel like my purpose is to impact kids, and just those that are in need in general, maybe not just kids. And I feel like I'm already doing that. Now, where I may be doing that or when or what may or may not change, and I'm okay with that. But I have learned to, because that was pulling and killing me for a while. I was trying so hard to see what was next instead of allowing it to, naturally happen. But for me, honestly, the biggest things for me in 10 years, married, watching my kids grow, and being a great father. I feel like everything else will fall into place if I'm able to, do the little things that I need to do and just focus on my foundation, building my foundation, growing my relationship with God, which I think has been a big challenge for me and something I've been trying to focus on this year more than ever, and just trying to get to my foundation. I've been reading the book, and one of the quotes that stuck with me is, "What's down in the well eventually comes up in the bucket." And that's something from my foundation and my purpose that I've been trying to gear towards. So just trying to focus on the small things and the daily wins, and I think that big win will come in whatever that may be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I know that doesn't technically answer your question.
It does. He played it safe.
Yeah. So
and y'all, he played it real safe.
So we'll see.
We'll see. Well, put it this way: people are looking, right? You know that.
For sure.
My only thing I would just say to you is just stay humble, right? And as long as you do stay within your true purpose,
absolutely,
the blessings are going to come.
Exactly. Sounds just like my mom.
Yeah, the blessings are going to come. Yeah, that's awesome. So you're making a great impact on the community. Yeah. No, thank you for caring so much.
Absolutely.
So is there any words that you can say to someone, because this is all about you doing great work in only 29 years of your life.
Yeah.
And there may be someone else out there that's struggling that at 24, they want to take a risk and apply because they feel as though they've done the work to get the job, but afraid to. I need you to speak to that person. What do you say?
As cliche and as simple as just do it. Who cares? Right? We live in a judgmental world where we care about who's dating who works where, who does what. Do what makes you genuinely happy. Bet on yourself. You will either get the opportunity or you'll learn from it. I was 21, applied to be athletic director at a local high school. It was a small private school, and I didn't get the job. Probably didn't have no business applying, but I wanted to see what that felt like.
I love I can't have no other word but audacity. I love the fact that you said, I don't care.
Yeah. And the competitiveness in me when I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Knowing in the back of my head that I had no business even applying, I was extremely upset, and I told myself I would never feel that feeling again where I'm turned away because lack of experience or things of that nature. So take that same, whatever competitiveness you got, and just do it. You'll be fine in the long run. I try to live at this point, like I said, and this is all through reading and things that I've learned this year. So I have not figured it out. I'm figuring it out. Try to live in purpose, legacy, and relationship. Those are my three main focuses. Find your purpose, live through it, live with it. Legacy, one day you won't be here. So what are people going to be able to say about you? Are you going to be missed? And then last one, relationships. Rather it's with your significant other, God, your friends, you are what your relationships are. So if you're not loyal, if you're toxic, if you're inconsistent in those are going to pour into your everyday life. So just go get it, go after it, and figure it out as you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's where we're going to end it.
Thank you.
Because that was heavy right there. That was awesome. You know what? If you enjoyed this conversation, we need to hear from you. Please comment, share it, and also reach out to us because we're going to make sure that he gets the question that you may have, right? So that we can still continue to build community. Thank you so much, Lynn. Coach Deane, you were awesome. You were amazing. You know what, y'all? Until next time, keep keeping it real.